Okay. So if you see that box, just push got it and that will go away.
Okay.
We've got. So now we are live on our Facebook page. So we have a lot of people that attend via Facebook, and they also watch the recording after the fact, and I can let you know more about that and how many people we've seen. I'm just going to kind of get us to the right spot.
That's great.
Get me to the right spot. Okay, well, I hear the sirens outside my window, and so that means it's noon on Wednesday. That is our cue to welcome our guest speaker, our Wednesday noon guest speaker. Today we have Rebecca Roetzel. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Okay.
Yes, you got it.
Good deal. She's the Mission and Outreach Coordinator for Ferncliff Camp and Conference Center. That's quite a mouthful. She's going to be telling us about Ferncliff in general and then what her role is, which is a lot. And I just wanted to ask you, Rebecca, before you start, how long you've been there, and then tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, my name is Rebecca. I am the Mission and Outreach Director. I started here in 2019, right before the summer, and camp is what we do. So it was like hit the ground running. So I started as a sort of an assistant for the camp programs, and then very quickly, within the first 3 months, I had sort of put my hand up to volunteer for some things that were happening on the other side of camp that were a fit with my interest and my skills as other staff were transitioning out. So that fall, I moved over into the outreach director position, and I've been doing that ever since. And it's been a weird, that was 2020, 2021. So it's been some interesting years to navigate through with outreach.
I can imagine. Yeah. You barely got your feet underneath you before everything had to pivot.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we're familiar with that word. Well, if you'd like to, wherever you want to begin, if you want to share your screen, if you just want to open it up into more general information, I'll let you take it away.
Okay, well, it's nice to see some familiar names already. Hi, Martha and Jan. So I am really just grateful for Leah, and then Rich Roy was the one who asked me to consider doing this. So Ferncliff is always looking for opportunities to get connected with people, people who know about us already, who maybe haven't heard what we're doing now, or people who have never heard of us and might be our new best friends, I guess. So I'm grateful to you all for having us here. One of the things about Ferncliff is that it's hard to talk about everything that Ferncliff does in a short amount of time. This camp was established in 1937 through the Arkansas Presbytery. It is part of the network of Presbyterian camps across the country and internationally, actually, Canada as well. But over the years, it has had directors and staff that have made really good decisions to keep the camp progressive, entrepreneurial, very sustainably minded. And so the camp has grown in a lot of ways that you might not think of when you just think of a residential summer camp. So that is the heart of what we do. I will try to share an image here. We might just go to the video. So we have a video, you know, a picture's worth 1,000 words, but I have a video which might be worth 1,000,000. So I'm going to share a couple very short videos that we've just made in the last year. And this will give you a much better overview of who we are, and it'll get our conversation started today.
Ferncliff is a place where my soul is filled.
I honestly can't think of a place I would rather work or be.
We're a missional camp that looks not only to take care of ourselves, but to take care of others and do it in a way that takes care of creation. Camp is a lot more than the roasting marshmallows and hiking and singing songs around the campfire.
When it comes down to it, campers are going to remember how they were treated and how they felt.
We have volunteer groups that come in on a regular basis. We have mission teams that come all year round.
They love coming out here and feeling like they're making a difference.
You don't have to have kids in a classroom. How they're able to be a friend, cooperate, problem solve. We see the biggest growth outdoors.
We have things that you might expect at an upscale hotel, but we are providing those in a pastoral environment on 1,200 acres, 10 miles west of Little Rock.
I'm convinced that just about everybody that comes out here will have an amazing experience.
This is a place where you can feel connected to something bigger.
All right. So that gives you a bit of an introduction to us. All that said, if you were thinking, what were all of those things? I'm going to try to share here. We really like tree cookies at Ferncliff. If you don't know what a tree cookie is, it's just sort of a cutting of a tree. And this graphic might help a little bit with all that we have going on. So this is our Ferncliff tree cookie. And as you can see in the center is residential summer camp. We are a residential youth camp at our core. And we have these beautiful facilities that for over 80 years have been used to host camp. As the opportunities rose, when there was a need for day camps in our area, so we met the challenge and added on day camp. And then we saw these beautiful facilities, we wanted to use them all year round. So we invested in the conference center facilities. We had the idea out of some brainstorming, some local families started the first nature preschool in Arkansas, which has served as a model and it connected us nationally to other nature preschools. We've developed school programs, and we've got this disaster assistance center. We've got all these other things that sort of go on that use our facilities, and they're all what we call responsive ministries. So the team here saw that there was a need or an idea or an opportunity, and they said yes, and they figured out how to do it in a way that continues to follow the mission of Ferncliff, which is to provide the space and the opportunities for people to care for themselves, to care for each other, and to care for our earth. And all of the things we do here need to do those things, or they aren't meeting our mission. So you saw some of the preschool stuff there. We do have a dedicated area for a farmstead, which is right near our preschool. So I'm sharing a little picture. Can you guys see this picture here of our garden, maybe? So we have a garden that helps just expose children to a different type of creation care. It connects them to their food and to introduce ideas of food justice. And it brings things into them in a way that they can see it and touch it and feel it and think, oh, I could do that too, or I understand that in a different way now, or I can make a different decision. So I'm showing you a few pictures here of how our garden interacts. Here's some of our nature preschoolers who hatched eggs. And then when the chickens began laying eggs, this was the first hard-shelled egg that came out. So this was a very big day for our sparrow class, discovering the first egg laid by their chickens. It was very exciting. I'll share a few pictures. I have the privilege of having a child in this program. And so a few more things. We have this nature preschool, which is one of our outreach pillars. Basically, we believe in developing whole persons, and that begins when you are born, and so for our 3 to 6 year olds, they come in. This is a school model where they are outside all day. Right now during COVID, it's 100%, but normally it's about 95% of the day they are outside. There is no such thing as bad weather. There is only bad clothing choices. So they come in their slick pants and their layers and their boots and everything prepared to deal with whatever happens. The kids here learn all different types of skills. So they whittle, they learn to use tools, they learn to build fires, and they learn about water safety and creature safety and all of those things that people need as a good foundation. And they also learn things like the names of the trees. and the animal friends in the forest. And we are giving them the tools that they need in an intimate way so that they will become good stewards of the earth, which is an important pinnacle for us. So I wanted to touch on our preschool because it's sort of one of our keystone programs with our outreach. We serve many families. I think we have about 60 kids in the program right now. We have developed after-school programs to meet those needs, which are all nature-based. We also pivoted during COVID and created a virtual school where working parents who have a kid who's enrolled in a school that went virtual could bring their kid to us, drop them off just like a school day, and then we provided the space and the teachers to help them through their synchronous lessons and Zoom calls. But then they would spend half their day doing camp stuff, outdoor stuff, nature education stuff. So that's one of the examples of a program that's grown into a really successful model. I'm gonna stop sharing here, okay. And more recently, one of the things I would touch on as far as outreach is that we were able to respond pretty swiftly to the Afghan refugee crisis. So if you weren't aware, there were 100,000 Afghans came into our country. They were housed in bases, and then they needed to find host agencies in different states. And a lot of those host agencies, a lot of them were churches. Many local churches participated in this program through Catholic Charities. And they needed temporary housing for these families before their permanent housing was ready to move into. So Ferncliff was able to give space. We have lots of housing options here. We have lots of cabins and things. And so we were really honored to be able to work with, First United Methodist and Second Presbyterian and Christ the King, all of these churches that hosted families. We got to know the families. We got to know these church networks, the many, many committees that it took to welcome and prepare, and then to continue to house and care for these individuals as they navigate a really difficult journey integrating into our society. So that was one of our most recent outreach efforts, was participating in the Afghan resettlement movement. And that's sort of done with the temporary housing. They're all in permanent housing. So we're celebrating a lot of new permanent housing for these families. Yeah, so one of my roles permanently, additionally, just responding to some of these outreach things as they pop up. There are 2 programs which I run in our warehouse. So there is a section of land at Ferncliff that was acquired after the main camp area, which brought our total to a nice even 1,200 acres. It's a beautiful property, and this additional little area we named the Outback. So this Outback gave us an opportunity to do some new responsive ministries. And one of those was our Disaster Assistance Center. So we work with Church World Service, which is a global relief agency, and we're partners with them. We also work through Presbyterian Disaster Assistance to help meet, to serve as a place for both of those agencies and to help do what they do. This kind of came about way back after Hurricane Katrina, when Church World Service was trying to get a lot of their relief supplies. They do kits like cleanup buckets and hygiene kits and school kits. They send physical supplies that are needed right away, blankets, water, things like that. They were shipping them from Maryland, and the conversation came up through Presbyterian Disaster Assistance to say, we've got this land. What if we built this thing and made a space for that? So I do want to share another video here with you. Again, a video is worth a million words. So we have another short video. We have a YouTube channel. So if you ever want to watch these videos or look at the other videos that we offer, I would encourage you to just pop onto YouTube and check it out. So I'm going to share this screen. Here we go here, and make sure everybody can hear. This will introduce you to our Disaster Assistance Center.
The culture here is one that is always looking for new ways to complete our mission.
The Disaster Assistance Center was started after Hurricane Katrina came through, and Church World Service, which is a global relief agency, needed someone a little closer just to logistically help get things on the ground.
We had acres that we could provide for this warehouse so that once it was created, it changed Ferncliff from being a camp and a conference center to also being a disaster assistance center.
We receive disaster kits from churches around the country that want to do a hands-on project. And so those kits then come here as a central warehousing facility. We inspect them, check them, rebox them, and prepare them for reshipment to disaster areas, all using volunteers.
That translates to thousands and thousands of hygiene kits and hundreds of lead buckets.
When we get that call, we can respond quickly because things are already in place.
It's stuff, but it isn't stuff. Each one of those things, it's a gift.
So that gives you an overview about our Disaster Assistance Center. We are really proud of it. We've been now working there, since about 2006. We've maintained our partnerships with both Church World Service and the Disaster Assistance Presbyterian wing. And we've grown. So we were the first warehouse just this last year that piloted the Afghan program to respond to this Afghan refugee crisis. And in a long-term sense, they've created these welcome backpacks, which were designed to go to the borders for asylum seekers who receive their documentation and their paperwork to come into the country. Most of these people, and a lot of them are unaccompanied minors, leave the border alone or with a younger sibling, and they are traveling sometimes only with that blue documentation paperwork and their tickets. And Church World Service, who works at the border to help with these processes and housing, they just sort of identified that there was a gap. People need food and water and maybe a blanket and a light, and they could use a folder to put their paperwork in so that it doesn't get wet if it happens to be raining that day, So there were just some really simple things that could fill that gap. So they designed this backpack to be sent to the borders. And when the Afghan crisis happened this last fall in September, we got a call that said, we want to do this faster than we expected. Could you help us make this happen? So we were excited to have the space in our warehouse to, again, kind of pivot our normal kit operations. And we processed 1,100 initial backpacks through that first wave of stuff. And we were able to send them to 14 welcome sites across the country. And we've also been able to routinely stock them now at the border agencies that work with the asylum seekers. So it's been a really hands-on way. People want to help with these things. They want to feel like they're giving their resources to the right agency, or they want to send the right thing. And sometimes people don't know how to help exactly when it comes to disaster assistance after a tornado or a hurricane comes through. People want to help, but they don't know what to do. And for asylum seekers, for the border issues in our country, this has been a really great avenue for us to provide that link to people who want to have a way to help and want to know exactly where their stuff is going and how their money is being spent. So we're really proud of the programs that we've had and the directions that we're able to go, and we don't know what the future will hold with that disaster as we learn more about our ever-changing world and the needs that people have when they are in crisis. So we host mission teams. They come down, they can stay on site. We get a lot of youth teams in the summer. So if you're connected with a church that has a youth group that does a mission trip, consider Arkansas. Even if they're in Arkansas, coming to Ferncliff can be a really good destination that's not too far and hard to manage. But we get teams from all over the country. So tomorrow I'm welcoming an adult group of people from Iowa. And then on Monday, we've got a team from South Carolina. And then the next week, we have an Arkansas-based team. So we get youth, we get adults, we get families. You can actually come down for a weekend or a week and work on site to help Ferncliff, to help our programs. And then also help with other agencies in Central Arkansas. We connect them to other, like the food bank and Our House and places that could also use volunteer work. We coordinate that as a Central Arkansas experience. So that's a way for a group to get involved with us. But we also have an open Tuesday morning. We get some retired individuals that have time on Tuesdays. They come out and they just sit and chat and pack kits and drink coffee. And that's super helpful to keep the inventory rolling through our inspection line. So the Disaster Assistance Center gives us the opportunity to provide meaningful service in a lot of different ways. We also have groups that will never ever come to our center, but they do collections and they ship us kits, or they have a place that agrees to be a depot where other people could deliver their kits so that we can go pick up a big load of them in one sweep and save people a little bit on shipping. But the network of this Disaster Assistance Center is strong and exciting. And if anybody wants to tap into it, we definitely want to get connected with you. So there's 2 other programs that run out of our warehouse, aside from the disaster assistance. One of them is the Over the Hill Gang. And I think someone just put a comment up about this. This is a group of, this is a group of amazing guys who they're mostly retired and they have named themselves the Over the Hill Gang, but they are really good at drinking coffee, eating donuts, and carpentry. So every Monday morning, anyone is welcome to join this gang. They build things. And part of my job as the outreach is to manage applications from agencies anywhere, but mostly Central Arkansas, for churches or schools or nonprofits that could use a little library or a bench or pews or a wheelchair ramp. You know, if it can be built out of wood, they will get their designers on it. They'll make a plan and they ask that the agency just covers the wholesale cost of the wood. So their labor and their design, all of that is a gift. So it's a really great agency that also runs out of our warehouse. And the third one is called Sharing the Goods. So Sharing the Goods is probably the newest outreach program. This was started in 2014. And oh, that's great. I'm just seeing, yeah, they're very connected with the Presbyterian churches. So they've done work. And it's funny because I go places and I'll recognize like that picnic table, that looks like Over the Hill Gang. And they're like, oh yeah, they built that for us 10 years ago, which is great. And if you come to Ferncliff, anything you see pretty much that's been built of wood, lamp posts and gaga pits, they did it. They built it. These guys are really incredible. And they are welcoming new members. So keep that in mind. You don't have to have a ton of skill because I think anyone can hold a sander and drink coffee. Pretty good. So the third program that's under my sort of umbrella of outreach, aside from disaster assistance, Over the Hill Gang, the Farm and Garden, we also have a program called Sharing the Goods. And again, I think the best way to learn some of these things is through a video. So we'll take you back to our YouTube channel. And this is a program that is all about goods redistribution. So when I welcome people to our warehouse, I bring them over into the middle of this warehouse full of stuff. And I ask them, what did you see? And they'll say anything from, you know, a toilet seat, diapers, a sink, high heel shoes. And I say, what does all this stuff have in common? And no one ever gets the answer right. But I'll tell you, the answer is corporate waste. Everything in that warehouse has been redirected from a large retailer. And instead of going into a landfill, it was approved to come into a redistribution pipeline. We are partnered with an organization called Good 360, which we love working with them. There are Good 360 programs all over the country. People are often surprised that there's one in their hometown and they just didn't know about it. So we are dedicated to caring for our earth, keeping things out of landfills, but also redistributing those to our agencies to help take care of our communities and each other. So I will share again here. These videos are coming through okay. This is, frozen here, Sharing the Goods.
Sharing the Goods is a warehouse of resources for local nonprofits, churches, public schools.
To me personally, it is a wonderland. We were able to get cables. We were able to hook out 5 cameras up. It saved us at least $5,000 to $6,000 in just cables alone.
Traditionally, there's tons of corporate waste. Their returns, their clearance items, their seasonal things, custom orders. Now, through Good 360, we're one of about 80 warehouses in the United States that are approved to receive those goods.
Bed Bath & Beyond, Home Depot, Amazon truckloads. We're able to buy those at discount rates and then sell that item for 10% of what retail cost would be.
This has been like my honey hole. Now, when you gonna start getting school supplies in? We have after-school programs for children. We were able to get all the supplies for pennies on the dollar.
We're trying to develop this program so that we can really find the things that agencies need and get them out at just significantly less than they would have to pay for them off the shelf.
When I saw all the diapers that are here on the shelves, it blew my mind and it made me excited about the number of families that we can help. It has allowed any of our donated funds to go incredibly further than where they were going before.
The process is pretty easy. So we have an application, you can fill it out online, or most agencies will just come in. Anyone with a nonprofit status can come to our warehouse and receive goods that either will help them do more or help them spend less money on the things they're already buying.
Okay, so that's Sharing the Goods. That gives you a little bit of an overview. To piggyback on some of that information, we, like I said, are about I think it's about 80 community redistribution partners across the country who are approved to receive these items by the truckload. So we have a dock that's part of our disaster assistance requirement because we ship things out through trucking systems and FedEx. So that dock has come in very handy with making us eligible to be part of the truckload program. So we can get items like we received an entire truckload of hand sanitizer during COVID, and they sent us 10 bonus pallets, which was a little bit of a surprise. But if you can imagine 30 pallets of hand sanitizer, it was something like 750,000 bottles of hand sanitizer. So our job then is to redistribute that to people. And in some ways, our job is to retrain them to think, oh yeah, don't buy that from the store. I can get hand sanitizer and masks for free from Sharing the Goods because those items have been donated to us. So we were proud to be able to do a lot of those items throughout the pandemic. And we still have hand sanitizer. If anybody needs some, let me know. But we literally could deliver that with masks. And we threw in some coloring books and teacher sticker book resources and things. And we were delivering those by the pallet to school districts all over central Arkansas. So it's just a really great opportunity to redistribute things that are useful to people who can genuinely use them to save them a little bit of money or to help them through. So we get things by the truckload. Sometimes that is one thing, hand sanitizer. The first truckload I processed was kayaks. 137 kayaks arrived on a truckload. Luckily, I had a group of like 50 guys volunteering that day, and they had that thing unloaded in a matter of minutes. We had like 11 of those kayaks were damaged to the point that they wouldn't float. The rest of them, within about 3 weeks, we had redistributed to camps, veterans programs. There's a Veterans on the Water program that runs in North Little Rock. We got these to clubs that do foster care programs on the water. I mean, I learned all about agencies that I'd never been connected with before because of these kayaks. And it's just a really unique way of helping people meet their mission to have this. So they can get 8 kayaks for the price of 1. And that is a really helpful thing for camps and small agencies. So we do charge a fee because we have to pay for our membership with Good 360. We have to pay for staffing at our warehouse, but we also have to pay each time we get something delivered to us. There is a shipping cost. And if you know anything about the trucking and shipping industry, especially now, it is not cheap to get those things delivered to us. So we basically price what we have through an admin fee system, where some things we decide to distribute for free because we need to do that. We want to do that. We have an opportunity to do that. And then we try to make up the cost of our programs by charging a fee that's usually 10 to 15% of what that item would retail for. Right now, we have received 4 truckloads. So this is 104 brand new patio sets from Lowe's. Lowe's has discontinued these 2 models. Beautiful table with 6 chairs. You know, one of them is a beautiful wicker set with the cushions and accent pillows and everything. They're brand new in the box. These truckloads came out, and we deal with a lot of camps and churches and shelters, and we had the first truckload sold, claimed before it arrived. And then the second one was out the door. The third one is going out the door. And I got a 4th one just to make sure we have some inventory on our shelves, because it'll never go bad. But to give you an idea of admin fees, just for the processing of that, these patio sets retail for $1,500, and we are redistributing them for a fee of $150. So that is a price that is affordable. We've had agencies that are using them as conference tables. We've had agencies put these as dining room tables for refugee families because they have a house with no seating. They're very useful things, and we try to get them out the door at a price that is reasonable. Of course, we need to cover our costs to keep the program open. So that's why we have an admin fee. Sometimes people ask about that, so I always like to mention that. But this program also gives us a really unique avenue, for education, educating people about online shopping. If you do not know the dirty backside of online shopping, it is that your returns are most likely not going to be reshelved. They are going to a landfill. And if your vendor has approved to reshelve them or to redistribute them, that's the only avenue out of the landfill pipeline. So we take this as an opportunity to educate shoppers to understand the systems that you're participating in on a fuller level. We also have service opportunities connected to this, because we need help processing through things. And when we get an entire truckload of returns from an agency, it comes just like you would get a package in the mail, and you have to open it, figure out what it is, and if it's usable, and if it's broken, and what we do with it. So there's a lot of work that's involved with processing the goods that we get. Sometimes a kayak and a patio set are really easy, but small items are a lot more work. So it's a service opportunity. It's really popular with our youth groups, and it's pretty fun actually to process through these pallets of corporate waste, you know, that are actually things that we can pair with agencies. So we have about, I think we have 87 active agencies with us. Most are in Central Arkansas, but we do span camps in different networks around us in the States. And we also offer a sustaining membership program for 30 of those agencies. We have a few spots open, and registration ends at the end of March. So if you are part of a church or a nonprofit group, or you know a school that would benefit from our program, you can just become a member for free. It doesn't cost anything to sign up. We just need your tax ID, basically. Or if you want to become a sustaining member, then you get perks. You get special days to come in. And the best perk is that to become a sustaining member, you just, it's $250, and then you get $600 of credit. So you're gonna get it all back as long as you get some goods from us. Our goal is to just share those goods and figure out the application to keep them useful, getting them to the right places. So that is a bit of an overview of the outreach side, a little taste of Ferncliff in general, with our camps, our day camps, our conference center facilities, our retreat center facilities. Our preschool and our nature programs are a big part of who we are. And then the outreach stuff. So disaster assistance, sharing the goods, Over the Hill Gang, our farmstead. We have a small farmstead and we have families that come in and help with that. And we do farm days and events and things. But we have a way to connect with pretty much everyone we meet. So we're grateful for opportunities like this to get the word out there. We are always looking for guests and funding, but we're also looking for opportunities. We have a culture of saying yes to needs in our community. So we want to be seen as a resource for that to help make good progressive decisions in Central Arkansas. So I know it's 12:35. I was hoping that the second half of this could sort of be conversational. If people have questions or want more information, I am happy to field a couple questions.
I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes it seems like you're interconnected.
Uh-oh.
To freeze a little bit here towards the end. I'm not sure if that's just me. I wondered if you could also explain to us a little bit about Solar Under the Sun.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Solar Under the Sun is a program that's been with us for a while. Am I freezing up, Gina? I think you froze up during.
I think it's Gina that's freezing up.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's better than me, I guess, being frozen through all of this. Solar Under the Sun it is a program, I'll just tell you up front, which is currently on hiatus with us. But this is an international program that helps to harness solar energy in, I think, especially low income places in the world. So they do it in a sustainable way. It's called the Eco Center, and it was built as a lodging and a teaching facility for Solar Under the Sun. So this building is one of the largest straw bale constructions in the United States. It's really fascinating, and it's built with recycled materials and materials from on-site or property, and it can house 24 people. It's got 24 beds and 6 bathrooms, but put a pin in that. I have to come back to that in just a second. So this building also has a plenary area in the middle with a training unit for people to install solar energy. In mostly third world countries, I'm not an expert on Solar Under Sun, so I don't want to speak out of turn on some of this stuff, but they are a global training for solar energy. And our Eco Center runs completely off of solar. The camp has followed suit. Sustainability is really important. So we have installed solar panels on other parts of our buildings and roofs, and we are in process of putting in an entire solar array that would take the whole camp sort of off the grid, but we would also then be able to sell sustainable energy at an affordable rate to our partners and our neighbors in our community to lock in some lower energy prices, clean energy prices. So Solar Under the Sun used to do workshops, and they have trainings all around the world, actually. They're on hiatus with us, and part of that is because during COVID, in order to keep our preschool open, we needed to move to a facility that allowed us to keep our classes completely separated. So teachers and kids were in their own bubbles, and there was no cross of facilities or bathrooms or things like that. And the Eco Center provided an incredible space. It has individual rooms and bathrooms and sort of yard areas. It worked beautifully, and each room is really interesting too. So even though the kids aren't inside very often, it was a good talking point to have a nature preschool in an Eco Center. Is a really good fit. So we are working on and have a campaign that's going to launch at some point to build a new building that will be 100% catered to and specific to our nature preschool program, which would allow us to expand and do that in an intentional way. And then we'll be able to move out of the Eco Center. But for now, the Eco Center is slated for preschool programs, and the Solar Under the Sun is not using our facility. It's a great question. Yeah, Martha.
Hey, so I just was curious that you said that, is it the Eco Center that is built using hay bales?
Yes.
So do they decay over time? Do they have to be replaced over time? Is there other support structures behind
Yes.
those?
That is a great question. And I think you can still go to the website and read like the full description of straw bale, but this building was made with, it has steel beams and a foundation. But then the straw bales, you know how wide, the shape of a straw bale, the width of a straw bale is the width of the wall. Thousands and thousands of straw bales were stacked up within these beams. And then the whole structure was basically, it was cobbed. So it's like a wattle and daub, if you think of like the mudding. It's funny because before I worked at Ferncliff and really knew anything about it, my husband just happened to be friends with a guy who was helping to build this straw bale building in this random field, And so I actually helped with the mudding. I would come out and help with this crazy huge project. And it is definitely a process, but you can look up cob or straw houses, and most people build them fairly small, but these big structures are completely encased in a very thick and intentional coating of this mud, basically. And no, it doesn't need any, it's been there for 15, almost 20 years, and it's doing fine. Yeah.
I think it's a lost art, really, sounds like.
Yes, and it has so many benefits, because if you think about it, the thickness of the walls and the organic material of the walls is a natural insulation. So it's easy to keep it cool in the summer. It's naturally cooler in there, and it's naturally warmer in the wintertime. You can sort of draw off the benefits of natural things. This building is so big, the internal walls also needed insulation. We did not use straw bale on the inside of the building. They were built like conventional walls, but they were filled with Arkansas rice hulls. So we recycled the rice hull material. Arkansas produces a lot of rice hulls, and we use that as an insulation on the inside as well. So I think you're right in saying it's kind of a lost art. People have been building cob structures in many countries for a long time, and they last a long time if they're done right.
Yeah.
There was a question on Facebook, Rebecca, they would like to know more about the retreats that you offer.
Great. Yeah. So we have facilities that are 100% dedicated towards adult conference, comfortable accommodations for adult groups. We do offer youth packages for, weekend retreats or week-long retreats, whatever it would be. We have those for youth as well. And we typically house the youth in our youth cabins. But we have 36 hotel-style rooms. Each room has 2 double beds and a private bathroom and a window overlooking the lake. It is a big, long kind of brown conference center. We have meeting spaces that can house 100 or 200 people if needed, with Wi-Fi and, smart TVs and sound systems and things. So we get a lot of Arkansas Virtual Academy does all their trainings out here. We get a lot of administrative groups that do trainings, schools that will do their retreats and training sessions out here. We even had the national police dog academy training and graduation has been hosted here before. So we've hosted a lot of groups, and one of the things Ferncliff really emphasizes with community is that we are more than just a Presbyterian facility. It's our roots, and it's a huge part of our support structure. But we welcome all types of groups, scrapbooking, church groups, school groups, training groups. It doesn't matter what you're doing here, as long as it fits within our mission. And we're happy to have you. And we also have a dining hall with a professional chef who makes amazing, delicious buffet line foods or plated meals. And we can pretty much handle a week of all your meals, all your snacks, all of your, anything you need, hospitality wise. We are here to to serve and create a space that's comfortable for you. And, you know, we want to offer all the kind of professional conference level facilities that you would need to do your meetings, but we also want you to be able to step out the door and be in the forest, to be near the lake, to see the wildlife, and to have deer running behind your night view. So we want to balance the two things. And as someone who's fairly new to Ferncliff and has worked for large facilities like this before, who are trying to do that balance, I have never seen it done as well as Ferncliff does it here. It is so professional. It is so comfortable. They make good choices in investing in things that are really good and really beautiful, while maintaining the beauty of nature and the whimsy and the wonder that can come to anyone, you know, all ages, when you step outside the door.
I changed my Wi-Fi connection, so I think I'm okay for now.
Yeah, you're good.
I wanted to ask about the awards that Ferncliff has won for its environmental how it has developed buildings and that sort of thing, and what it's recognized for. Do you have anything you can tell us about that? Or is that kind of like a different department from you? So it's
that might be a different department for me. I know that we've gotten the we just talked about this. Sustain the Rock does this annual thing. They're doing it right now. So we've won that a few times. And we have received different awards for environmental sustainability, but I am not able to answer your question at this time.
Okay. I'll just say, like, the golf carts that you have, they're all electric with solar panels, and it's just
one of them. Yeah, we had one solar panel cart, and she's under construction right now. That's Sunny. But we have
the
Leafy
buildings and the things that you all do to model more environmentally conscious things in your setting. I think it's very admirable.
We absolutely
Kathy,
do. And we also have well, I was just going to mention, we have what we call our sustainability fee. Everyone who comes here, whether you're in a group or whatever you're doing, we have a per person sustainability fee, and we use that money to make sure we are doing those things, buying local food and composting and caring for our animals and using renewable energy sources. We want all those things to be built into our programs. And so we do ask people to pitch in with that sustainability fee to make that a sustainable way of operating for us. Sorry, Kathy, go ahead.
Yeah, I just, one more kudo. One of the first things I remember about hearing about Ferncliff was right after the Jonesboro shootings. I think it may have been the first in the country camp for survivors of school shootings and stuff was held at Ferncliff.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So after those first, it feels like forever ago, Columbine and Jonesboro were sort of the first big school shootings that the country was dealing with. And I was not here at this time, but the camp responded very quickly. It became clear that these kids did not have the right kind of grief camp. You know, they needed a place. They were experiencing and processing something that not every kid is processing. You know, you could find support groups for different other things for kids, but for these, this was really targeted and specific. So after the Jonesboro shooting, they came up with a camp here. It was a grief camp. They did art therapy and movement therapy and nature therapy with these kids. And that camp specifically left behind the most beautiful labyrinth in our Ramsey kind of Chapel Valley. And they carried these heavy burdens down into this valley, and together as a group created this beautiful labyrinth that, you know, it's turning their burden, their heavy load into this beautiful thing that has served, I mean, hundreds, thousands of people have walked that labyrinth and had transformative experiences in that space because of their contribution. So turning that and working through that grief has been a good thing. And we host contract camps every summer. We partner with agencies that we believe in, people that are doing great work, like the grief camps. We have a Camp Alex, which is for kids who are dealing with people who've lost a loved one to suicide. We've got foster care programs. We've got camps for kids with Medicaid, things that are just common denominators that change their situation. We've got a camp for incarcerated kids or I'm sorry, no, camp for kids with incarcerated parents. And that is something that we partner with specialists. You know, they bring in counselors who are part of these organizations and agencies, and truly Ferncliff just provides the space and the fun and the spaces for the camp activities, but also the spaces for the growth and the reverence and the healing. That's what we want to do. So when we're able to partner.
cut you off.
Oh, you're good. You're good. It's still good.
It's time for us to start another class.
Oh yeah, okay.
Ferncliff is very meaningful to a lot of people. We're very glad that you have shared your passionate perspective with us and LifeQuest members. LifeQuest people are also very passionate, and we're glad that we got to partner with you today to hear more about what you do at Ferncliff. And we wish you a lot of success, and I hope that this reaches some people who reach out to you and get to partner with you on an individual level or with their group or something. Yeah. So thank you very much, Rebecca, for coming today. We really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you all in other classes.
All right. You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Rebecca.
Take care.
Bye-bye.